Well, and asking how the church has splintered, we really have to go back to 1054, where the Eastern and the Western church split off from one another and Eastern Orthodoxy went its own way. But then we fast forward to something that's probably more familiar to us, which is the Protestant Reformation. And here, Martin Luther had this awakening that we are saved by faith alone in Christ alone, grace alone. And so he nails these 95 theses on the Wittenberg church door against indulgences and the practices of the Catholic Church. And for all his frustration with the Catholic Church, he knew that splitting from the church would be a hard thing. So he only takes about a half step to the left as he leaves the church. And then 12 years later, him and Ulrich Zwingli got into a colloquy. It's called the Marburg Colloquy. They were discussing matters of doctrine, and they had 15 points of discussion. They agree on 14, and it gets to the final one, which is the Lord's Supper, and they couldn't agree on it. And from that moment on, Protestantism was doomed to continue to splinter, so much so that in our day, there's an estimation that there's 42,000 denominations in North America alone. The reality is, once the church was starting to split, we're sinners, and we're going to keep finding things we're uncomfortable with. In our day, personal preferences that lead us to start new churches and new denominations, and there doesn't seem to be any end in sight. But what gives me great hope is that we do have institutions that are committed to the faith, to the Bible, to historic Christian orthodoxy, that are holding the line and that won't budge on some of these critical issues of our day. And institutions of higher education, places like Phoenix Seminary and other great seminaries out there that are holding that line and producing ministers of the gospel who have that faith once for all delivered to the saints. In the end, we need to unite on things that we can unite on and stop splintering over things that aren't worth it. It's like Augustine said, in essentials, unity, in non-essentials, liberty, and in all things, charity.